Woohoo! 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 No, the world's not coming to an end. It's my 30th episode. I can't remember when I actually started doing these. I guess I always shot them from my house. I guess I did. I started editing them at the studio at CTSB, and I shoot the video at home with the green screens, and now here I am on my dining room table. I have not much use for a dining room table, but you never know. You know, there are still places to sit at the table. You know, there's a lot of room on a dining room table. This is a nice big table. I can even go out to like 8 people. It was a great table when I bought it, because the leaves are built into the table so that you don't lose them. You don't have to figure out where to put them. They're, you know, it just makes the table all that much more heavy. But that's what your friends are for, right? Woohoo! Woohoo! A lot of people find that the 30 milestone of a birthday is a big deal in their life. And then it's 40, and then it's 50. My friends at CTSP said they'll throw me a party when I hit my 50th episode. I don't know what that means. It's going to have to be virtual because we don't meet anymore except for exchanging through car windows. Funny world. It's funny, funny, funny. Oh, here we are. Day before Mother's Day. As I say, events in your life, it's 3 days before and 3 days after. So it's a 7-day thing with good energy days. And Mother's Day is another one of those. I do wish to wish all the mothers out there a happy Mother's Day. But I also want to wish all those that had to step in for mothers that couldn't handle the emotional job as being a mother. That means dads, stepdads, uncles, aunts, all of the above. I had 3 aunts that would step in for my mother when my mother was otherwise occupied. Same with Father's Day. You had 3 aunts that would step in. Otherwise, my father was otherwise occupied. So, and as I myself raised 2 daughters while my ex-wife was otherwise occupied. So, one of my daughters said to me yesterday that she wants to spend time with me on Mother's Day because she knew I was there for her when she needed it. Which is awful cute. Isn't that cute? So, happy Mother's Day to all of you. I wonder what kind of cards we're going to pull up. While we've been talking, of course, I've been doing what I can to shuffle up this deck without making a mess of it. I suppose I could do is try doing a standard shuffle. Gee, it's too bad they don't make power shufflers for these size cards. I'll have to look into that. Oh, look at that. Yeah, we're really going to town now. like a pro. I can get a job at the casino now. So, as you all know, if you've been following along, I have a cheat sheet that I take notes from that gives me inspiration into the card's energy, and then we just let everything flow. But in all reality, the fairies are speaking for you and me. It's an odd thing. How could you watch a video a year from now and have it speak to you? I don't know. Ask a fairy and they'll explain it to you, and they'll explain it to you in detail. It's just whether or not you wish to listen or not. So, as I say to everybody else, have you met your fairy? Everybody has a fairy. What was the name of that movie? The Janissa Crystal? Was that the name of it? With, oh, the kidder lady. Just saw her in a movie. I'm going to have to take notes. I'm going to have to be like our president with a little notepad in the pocket of all these movie references that I can't remember when the pressure is on. But in that movie, everybody had a fairy that would follow around, but everybody could see each other's fairy, which is different. This one, the only one that can see your fairy is you. You can tell people about your fairy, but they're not likely going to know what they look like, unless somebody has an intuition like I do, and then we might have an understanding about it. So, what I suggest you doing is getting a piece of paper and some crayons. And I think crayons is better than a pencil, but you could do a pencil. I probably wouldn't do it on your iPad or something like that. You need to get that, you know, that flow of energy from up here to flow down your arm. I guess it's the same thing if you're doing it on your iPad, and then draw it and put it up on the refrigerator. You don't have to tell the world who it is, just imagine your fairy on the card. How hard is that? Well, there we go. I could show you a picture of my fairy. I don't wish necessarily for it to take the color of yours. I would tell you though that mine is a gnome. Harry the gnome. Actually, hairy feet. Harry as in H-I-R-Y, because he has very hairy feet, and he likes to ride on the hood of my car. It was more noticeable when I had a full-size Chevy Express van, because he really liked sitting up on there. I think lately, though, he's been riding inside, because it's not quite the same. But, you know, whatever it is, they're around. I used to live someplace where I've always lived in nature everywhere I've been, in the different levels, but now I live in nature. Now there's a road out there, and it goes someplace, and it goes into somewhere of importance, but every window that you look out, you see trees, and right now all the leaves are popping. I don't know if another snowstorm was going to hit them, but the leaves are popping. And, yeah, we've got our daffodils coming up and our irises. The hostas are popping. The rhubarb. I always have some rhubarb. It grows there in my step, even if I don't want it to. And yeah, I'm immersed in the forest so that my fairies are having the time of their life. When I'm somewhere like in a city or something, they're not particularly happy. And there was another location that they weren't happy with too. Oh, excuse me. Ugh, I hope that's not a trend. I hope I didn't just put you all to sleep. There was a Native American ground up in Charlemont, Massachusetts. Interesting enough, that particular town had exercised the law that's still on Massachusetts books about practicing witchcraft, which is kind of a curious thing when you really kind of think about it, to have a Native American ceremonial grounds in a town that exercises their thing about witchcraft. Now, they allow them to do what they wish to do with all their ceremonies and all that stuff, but they wouldn't allow me to set up a booth reading tarot cards. Interesting, isn't it? So in all reality, I'm breaking the law. Don't tell anybody I'm breaking the law. No, I'm not really in Massachusetts. Nope, nope. Don't even think of it. I'm in Fairyland. That's where I am. Fortunately, we're not so backwards. Ever since the Salem witch trials, things have kind of mellowed out in Massachusetts, regardless of how things are in other parts of the country and the world. Massachusetts have mellowed out on that accusing people of witchcraft thing. Now, granted, they make a lot of money on that whole witchcraft thing in Salem, but fortunately they don't enforce it. Otherwise, I'd be reading tarot cards from behind bars, and instead of this red shirt, I'd be wearing an orange one, and I'd be talking with our friend Bob. That's does his own show on CTSB, and we'd be sitting next to each other throwing jokes at each other. That could be a real hoot. What do you think? So in this gabbering, that's... Uh-oh. According to my clock here, I only have 13 minutes left to the show. We might have to cut out some of these stories. I sure hate to. Oh well. Let's pick up some cards. We're going to take the top one, and then we're going to take this one, and we're going to take this one, which has two of them. We're not going to take both of them, and we're going to take this one, and we're going to do one more card. We're not going to do 6 just because we're running out of time. So, there we go. And what should we take as the first card to pick? This one. Ooh, it is a vertical card for you. Number 27. Nels. Remember her? Very pretty. Yes, I do like the Lady Fairy cards. I can't help it. I hope you don't hold that against me. Number 27. Now a reminder that this is the Fairy Oracle by Brian Fraud. I would show you the book, but it's holding up my camera. So, because I needed that little bit of an inch for that camera. The number 27. Nils the Alchemist. Inner transformation. Irreparable change. If this was in reverse, you may be getting into Nell's way of doing her work. But today, we got inner transformation and irreparable change, which makes sense with the energy of the feminine, which is around Mother's Day. The manifestation of the feminine energy, which is really, really cool. I'm going to try this card here. And this is a card in reverse. Half the Hoofers. Number 58. Flaff. Flaff. The Hoofers. Faff the Footers. With double F's in both words, which I still have trouble with. And this card was in reverse. Oh, there you go. That one there. It was in reverse. If that makes any sense to you. Wow, there's some interesting imagery in that card in reverse. Number 58. Faff the Footers. Being real, earthing, grounding, and centering. But this card was in reverse. Nope, wrong one. 58. Get someone to help pull you back to earth. This is urgent that you don't float away. Learn to fly properly. And when you're meditating and you're putting yourself into another realm, you wish to have a tie back to your physical body. And all that has to do is be a piece of twine or string, or guide wire, something that's not going to easily snap. So you don't want to use a rubber band. Because this isn't bungee jumping. So, maintain that connection with your physical self while you're in meditation. Don't just float away. If you're having an out-of-body experience, keep track of where your earthly body is. Okay, how about this one? This card is another one that's in reverse. The Pook. Now, I don't think that we have pulled up the Pook lately. I actually don't think we've pulled it at all in the last several readings. Kind of interesting. This is the Pook. So this was a vertical card, which is a good thing, because it sure is weird if it was vertical. Upside down. This is number 60, the Pook. We've never seen this one yet for quite some time. Well, there's 65 cards, so it's a good chance that we haven't seen them all. Shape changer, good into bad and bad into good, paradox, and resolution. Now that's the paradox. The good, the bad, the good, evil, whatever is opposite evil, I guess, good, but it's not about, you have to be able to see both sides at the same time and rise to the third position up here. Take this and put it as one and combine the two. When you look at something that's going on out there and you say, that is awful, poke around with it a little bit and see if there's something good about it. But try to stay out of the extremes. And I won't bring politics in, but I could probably do that, but it'll get me into trouble. So, you know, the whole point of the paradox is to be able to see both sides at the same time and then rise to the third position, which is kind of where the floating part comes in. You got the both sides, and you're going to float above and see both sides, but just kind of stay still tied to the ground. Stay tied back to Mother Earth. Mother Earth. Mother's Day. We should be celebrating Mother's Day, but we're not. So, number 9, another vertical card, and it's a singer card. This is number 9. Look at that. The singer of initiation. Isn't that cool? Passage through trial, triumph, and new level. If this was in reverse, it would be, why me? Why is this going to end? How can you do it better? How can you handle it differently? But today, we are passing through to a new level. Wahoo! Wahoo! I wonder if my YouTubers will be saying wahoo in the comment section. And if they don't, they better. I dare you. Especially that guy up in Canada and the guy from England. The guys that comment on my videos the most. Yeah. So that's kind of cool. A bit of transformation energy going on here. What's our next card? It is another reverse card, number 65. Isn't that like almost the last card? It is the last card. The Feline. A very interesting card indeed. But this card was in reverse, like so. I don't know if we've pulled this one up. Oh, I think we have. The Feline. Getting it right, delayed completions, tidying up loose ends. But this card was in reverse. Question great ideas from others. Now this goes back to the paradox. The left and the right. Somebody says, I've got a great idea for you. John, this is the best idea I could come up with, and I think it's great. And then you hear it, and you say, okay, well, let me think about it for a little while, like a couple of days, or even, a day. Once they walk away, think about it off and on. while you're multitasking, doing other things, and you go, oh, wait a minute. It may not be as great of an idea as it could be once you kind of think about it for a while. And I tend to find that out. You know, instead of making a snap decision about something and jumping right in with both feet, take a look at the left side, take a look at the right side, and try to come up with something that works in the middle. This goes back to that floating card. Fifth the footer. Get someone to help pull you back to earth. Get somebody to pull you back to earth. If someone says, hey, I got a great idea for you, and you go, great, where do I sign? And then you sign, and you find out, wait a minute. That was not such a great idea, was it? Well, you know, it has its pros and cons. That's what they'll say to you. It has its pros and cons, but they didn't say that when they were selling it to you. So take some time to process it. Look at the left side, look at the right side. Look at both sides and combine them together and rise to the third position without floating away. Floating away. As my cat pounces onto the table to have something to eat is most appropriate, and maybe you heard the pounce. And until next time, the fairy speaks for you and you. Happy Mother's Day. And until next time, hug a fairy. The fairy is speaking for you. Ta-ta.